I think I'm live. It took me a little bit. Sorry about that. What I worked on last Saturday, I did it and it said I was live. And then I was looking at my iPad and it said it was still waiting for me. And then I went back and I refreshed and I did it again. And I'm finally here at the link. So good morning, everyone. I am Sarah Simon. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Appleton, Wisconsin. And holy cow, is it gloomy here today. It's been the last couple days, it's been kind of rainy, but let me tell you, my lawn is really, really green. Good morning. Let's see. We've got Dee, who's been waiting for a while, Mary and Linda and Kelly and Karen and Sandy and Tammy. I'm so glad that you're here. I know there are others of you who are here as well. Good morning, Amanda. Again, if you want to comment, you do have to log into an account just like you do for Facebook. It looks like I might have a little bit of a delay with my lips, so I'm sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with that, but it looks like I'm a little bit off on my computer. So I wanted to start with Happy Mail. Holy cow, did I get some amazing cards this week. Look at this. This is, remember when we did this card 2 weeks ago? Where it pops up and opens up. Oh my goodness. Amanda Shabo, you said last week in the comments that you made one. You didn't say it was for me. And then I went to my mailbox later that day and this beautiful thank you card was there. And she even put it so that the envelope is decorated and I can actually use this. Thank you so much. And then I see Mary is on here as well. Look at this card. So it's like a gatefold. We're going to do one like this because Mary, I had never seen this fold before. So I examined yours and I think I got it down. So if I did anything wrong, well, I created it a different way. So it looks like a gatefold here. Looks like it has a belly band. And it took a while for me. I was like trying to slide this off. But if you open up that gatefold, it stands up like that, where there's like a little centerpiece that comes out. And this is gorgeous with the distressed gold. And then she's got a little message on the back. So we're actually going to make this fold today with some new products. Good morning, Kay. I am in sync. Good. Thanks, Mary. It looks to me like I'm a little bit off, but I'm glad I'm in sync. So thank you both for the happy mail. I love going to my mailbox and seeing what all of you have created. And Mary, you gave me the inspiration for the card that I'm doing today. And Amanda, I'm really glad that you were inspired by something that I did on here. So I wanted to start with some prizes. I have my little notes here. So last week we made this little envelope that has 8 cards in it. We made 4 of them and I had already made 4 cards. So there's 8 cards in here. It would make a great Mother's Day gift. I even put a Mother's Day label on it, which you could take that off if you want to use whoever's winning this. If you want to use it for something else, you could. The best way to remove it, because I put it on Stampin' Dimensionals, if you take your scissors and get it underneath there, you can just clip off those dimensionals and you could put a different label on if you want. I do have a matching Mother's Day card that I didn't make with you, but I made it to match this. So I will be sending it along with this. And getting this is Karen Karst. So Karen, thank you so much for your comments last week. Thank you for everyone who commented. I do look on Facebook and I also look on YouTube because I know some of you can't get to the commenting in YouTube, so I do go into Facebook and I write all those names down and give everybody a number. Good morning, Betty and Kay. And then for sharing, so if you share it here on YouTube or if you share it in Facebook, please write down that you shared so that I know for sure. I put all of those into a drawing and receiving some brand new. These are the 2022 through 2024 in colors. And they're like these pearls that have some glimmer in. My light is kind of not doing them justice. But receiving these is Sandy Calloway. So Sandy, I will get these in the mail to you. For those of you that placed an order in April, I did send something out to you asking you for what you wanted for a gift if you wanted to pick your gift. I did get those in the mail or in with my order because I second day ordered my order because they're saying it's taking almost like 10 days for an order to ship. If you do regular and if you do second day air or next day air, they guarantee that it'll ship out. If your order's in by 11 o'clock Mountain Time, which is noon our time, it'll ship yet that day. And then it comes in 2 days. I know I had to pay through my teeth to get it here because it's so much more expensive, but I have new product that I'm going to be using today. So I'm so excited. I have a bunch of swaps that I have to do. And so I knew I had this weekend free that I could make them. So I'm going to be making cards all weekend. So anyway, those gifts did come. I will be putting them in the mail. I completely forgot to order one of the types that people had asked for. So those are coming on Tuesday because I had to place a second order on Friday. So those will be coming on Tuesday. So I think it was Denise and I don't know who the other person was that requested those. Those will be coming. I also did post that I am going to be starting a color club. Sometimes people want all of the new in colors, but it can be expensive to get the paper and the designer paper and the ribbon and the ink and the ink refill and the blend if you like the Stampin' Blends. So what this is I will, for whoever wants to purchase it, I will purchase all of them at the discounted rate. So that if you get all of the pads together, you get like a 10% discount on that. I will purchase all of them and then I will keep them here. And then in May, everyone who's in the club will be getting the boho blue. So you'll get the boho blue pad re-inker. If you want the Stampin' Blends, it's a little bit more expensive. The marker, the jute, I went with the jute rather than the ribbon. And you will get all of that in the mail in May. In May, you will also get the in-color dots, and you will also get the in-color DSP. You will also get 3 cards made with that color, for me as examples. Then in June, it's Copper Clay, I think is in June, or Pebble Path, one of the two. You will get all of that color sent to you. And what you will do is each month you will pay. So it's $43 if you don't want the blends and $53.50. So I will send you an invoice, you pay, I send you that color. I send you an invoice the next month, you pay, I send you the next color. And so by September, you will have all of the 5 colors. So it's kind of an easy way to do that, to make a smaller payment every month rather than having all of that cost. And shipping is all included into that. So really excited about our color club. All right, I have a lot to do today. The cards that I have, I'm so excited. I hope you like them as much as I had so much fun playing with the new product. I'm in a bunch of swaps, and I'm going to be using some of these for my swap. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera. I think that's all I had to do. Yeah, I will flip my camera, and we will start creating. Whoops, I still have this here. I'll put this away, and I'll put this away. And I'm going to turn my overhead light off, because I find I have less shadows when I turn that off. All right, so here's our annual catalog, and I can finally open it up because it is live. The first, let me get to this. This is the first suite of products that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to swap, and I'm going to admit to you, everything that's in the catalog doesn't always interest me. I mean, it's not like, ooh, I have to have that for every single thing that's in there. This would not be something that I would gravitate towards, like, oh my gosh, I have to have this. But I was assigned this bundle, the Masterfully Made. And so I have to design 4 cards using this product. And then I share them with other people. And then all of the other suites, I will get 4 cards for each of those. Whoops, I should probably take it out of the protective coating. It'll look a little bit better. So this is what the paper looks like. And these are the colors that are in it. Lots of different colors in there. This is really bold and bright, which I like bold and bright, but I felt when I looked at it in the catalog, oh my gosh, these papers are so busy. But I found out that when they made these, what they did was they actually tore paper and they put it together and they took a picture of it, and that's how this designer paper came to be. Now, I didn't order in the catalog. There's a paper in the specialty papers that says that it has a white center and it's 12 by 12, and you can't really tell when you look at it. And I can see if I can find it real quick. I didn't know what they meant by that. So I didn't order any. And here's our designer papers. Here we go. So when I looked at it, I'm like, what do you mean it has a white center? I think it's this one right here. Yeah, number 2 has a white center. I'm like, so is it 12 by 12 and then in the middle there's white there? No, what it is in the layers of the paper, there's white in it. So when you go to tear it, notice how in this paper, when you tear it, there's white along the edges. That's not stamped. It's because the inside of the paper is white. Duh, I didn't know that. So in my second order that's coming on Tuesday, I'm getting some of this. And notice that all of these colors are colors that are in this designer series paper. So I will not be designing all my cards this weekend because I really want to use some of this and do some tearing so that it goes along with that. Okay, so masterfully made. And then that white centered paper, what the heck that is all about. So the card we're using today is not going to be using that. We're going to be using some Lost Lagoon and some Pretty Peacock. So this is the stamp set. And these are the dies. I love that this looks like if you would pull paper out of a notebook and it has like the little edge on the top. And this is to make it look like it's teared on the bottom. So you go ahead and cut that. And then this die also makes it look like it's torn on either end. Okay, I have all of the stamps out of here right now because I do have to design with this, and I think I've mentioned it before. When I have to make a bunch of cards with a suite of products, I just put everything on blocks. And then I have everything available to me. Okay, we are going to start with a piece of Lost Lagoon, and this is 4 1/4 by 11. I've scored it at 5 1/2. We're going to be doing some cutting on here, but I wanted to do the cutting with you so you could see how easy that is. All right, I have 2 pieces of Pretty Peacock that are 2 1/2 by 5 1/4. Okay, so those are going to be going on there. I have this design. Okay, so this has this on either side of the paper. So there's this is all made with torn paper, which is amazing to me. So it's on this side, and then on the 12-inch side, it's on that side. So this measures 2 3/8 by 5 1/8. On the other side of that paper is like this torn, it has Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock in it. So these are each 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. I have a little 1/2 inch, it's actually probably about 3/8 inch thick strip that we're going to use for our greeting. This is for our inside greeting. This is 2 3/8 by 5 1/8. And then I have a piece that I'm going to put on my envelope. This always measures 6 inches. And then by about, you can get away with like 2 1/4 to between 2 1/4 and 2 1/2. Whatever I have available is usually what I use. Okay, let me bring my paper trimmer in here. And I'm going to show you how I trimmed this before we get to some stamping. All right, so I'm going to line up on the 4 1/2 inch side. I'm going to line up, 4 1/4 inch side. I'm going to line up at 3/4 inch on the right-hand side of my paper trimmer. Okay, and then with my cutting blade, which is the darker gray one, I'm going to line up, there's like a little arrow on either side of these. I'm going to line that up where my score line is, or at 5 1/2 inches, because that's where the score line is. And when I get that in there, I'm going to press it down, and I'm just going to go to the end. Okay, I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to go to 3/4 inch again. I'm going to go to 5 1/2. Okay, and line that up, press it down, and cut. That's as easy as those cuts are. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get my paper trimmer out of here. I have all my tools that I'm going to need all sitting here, I hope. I hope I'm prepared. I did 2 of the cards on Thursday, and the one card I did last night, oh my gosh, I can't, that's going to be my last card today. Okay, so I'm giving this a good, firm crease. This is going to be a center fold where it opens in the center, and these I'm actually going to glue down. Okay, so I'm going to glue those little flaps down by just adding some, I'm using liquid glue. You could use whatever your adhesive of choice is. Now I do want to make sure that I get these right to the corner, and then I don't accidentally like move them off to the side or anything like that, because I need that center part to come down right between them. Okay, so this is going to be then our center fold. All right, I do have a little bit of stamping that we have to do before we put the rest of it together. So I'm going to bring out some Lost Lagoon and some Pretty Peacock ink. And I'm going to make this a thank you because I go through a lot of thank yous. I'm going to bring in this image right here for the inside. I have this one all typed up, so I don't have to worry so much about these. I have the other ones. I'm going to have to make sure I save the Post-its because I have to type those up yet. I didn't quite get that done last night or this morning. This morning, was anybody else like overly interested in the coronation? I woke up and I put the news on and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. All right, I am going to stamp off once, and then I'm just going to add that kind of down. Whoa, I'm disconnected. Hang tight. I think I'm back. Sorry about that. I still don't know why that happens. Hopefully you didn't see that. I just stamped off once and then stamped the image again. Oh, I was out for a while. Sorry about that. Let me see if I'm coming back. Oh, there we go. Okay. There's a delay in what you see and what I'm doing. And so all I did was I took this Lost Lagoon, inked this image up, stamped it off once, and then put it on there. I find that my newer stamp pads are really, really juicy. So if I want something to be a little bit more muted, I tend to stamp it off. The other thing that you can do is you could just take some cardstock, or you could take something, you could take a plastic spoon, and you could kind of spread some of that ink out as well. That works too. All right, now when I did this, I ended up cutting it after I stamped it. So we'll see if I can stamp it on here straight. I have a nice long enough strip, so if I have to do it over again, I can. All right, let me try one more. Go up a little bit. Okay, that's good. All right, and then I also do have a greeting as well for the inside. And this just says, "You're a great friend." You don't have to put that in there. I just thought, I know who I'm going to send this to, and it was someone who was a great friend. So I'm going to just go ahead and center that on there. And then I can still write my message. I can even write it over the top of that floral image if I want to. Okay, so that is it for our stamping on this one. I'm going to get some of this stuff out of here. All right, and now we can put this together. So I'm going to get this out of here, and we're going to attach this to one of these. This is going to be my SIP card. Stamp, ink, and paper. You don't need an embossing machine. Nothing is. It's just using the stamps, the ink, and the paper. We are going to use a ribbon and some gems to add some little embellishments. But the biggest thing for this one is you don't need anything really special to be able to make the card. So if you're not a person that has invested in a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, it's okay. You can make a fun fold like this that just uses the paper and uses the stamps and the ink. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and assemble this. So this is going to be our inside when you open up the card. You are a great friend. And then these little strips are going to go on either side. Those are going to be my side. In my directions, I think I called them my side DSP, and I called it my center DSP. I will get my blog post done. I'll work on that when I'm done with this video. When we're done with this live, I will get my blog post together. I will finish typing up the document that has all the dimensions as well. And then I will post that blog post that has a link to everything for you. I will post that on my Facebook page. I can also post a link to that in this YouTube video too, if that helps you. Okay, and then this is just going to go on the front. Look at how quick and easy this card is. That's good, because our last one is not going to be quick and easy. But oh my gosh, I love it. I hope you love it as much as I did. I'm so excited to share it with you. Okay, and then I'm going to take my non-ribbon scissors and I'm just going to kind of cut that thank you, and we're just going to place that down here. And I'm going to pop that up on some dimensionals. The paper really does all the work here. I really didn't have to do a whole lot of anything except for cutting the paper. All right, so I'm just going to put that down there. And then in the, this isn't ribbon that really goes with this suite. It goes with the ink and tile, which is the next set that I'm going to use. But I thought the Lost Lagoon ribbon looked really nice with this. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this around the top up here. I'm actually going to tie a bow. So, and I'm on TV, so I'm going to try to give myself, ooh, that wasn't even a ribbon scissors and it cut pretty well. Going to give myself enough. Now I want to make sure that I'm not twisted back here, because you are going to open this up and the person's going to be able to see the back of that ribbon. So you just want to make sure it's not twisted. And since my greeting was a little bit off to the right, I thought I'll put the bow kind of to balance it a little bit more off to the left rather than trying to center it. Because when you try to center it and then it's not centered, it kind of looks funny. So I kind of purposely move them over to the right or to the left. And I don't want a super big bow. So I'm going to make this just, so all I'm doing is I'm kind of like pulling on the tails a little bit to make the loops a little bit smaller. And then I just have to pull them tight again. Okay, when I have it about the size that I want, I'm going to grab my ribbon scissors. Make sure that I get a good cut here. There and there. And then what I usually like to do with my bows to make sure that I'm keeping them in place is I like to take a glue dot, and I should be using my take your pick tool instead of my scissors, but that works too. And I'm just going to place that underneath the knot. And if I want to, if you feel like you need to add something to these tails, you could add something to the tails to hold those in where you want them as well. I'm just going to slide that down a little bit. So there's that. And now in this suite of products, there are also these adhesive back gems. And there's like a pink color in there, which I don't know which pink. Let me look. It looks like there is a Melon Mambo. Is that what that is? Yeah, Melon Mambo. It looks like there is also Berry Burst. So these are just kind of like a lighter shade of pink. All right, I'm going to use the ones that are the Pretty Peacock, the greener colored ones for ours. And I'm just going to place those, whoops. Let's see, we'll put one up here by the greeting, and maybe we'll throw one up here, and let's see, maybe somewhere over here, kind of like so that they're in kind of like a triangle is what I like to do. All right, so there is our first card. I do have my, I thought this torn paper would look really nice on the back of the envelope to kind of go along with that. So I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to that. So I think I have my first card done in the swap that I have to do. I'm thinking this is going to be one of them. It was my first attempt at playing with this suite of products, but I kind of liked how it turned out. And so I'm hoping that everybody else that's in the group will agree and that they will like what I created. And now I have 3 more cards that I have to design with this suite, and then I have to make, I think it's 9 of each of them, and have that all done by June 6th and end the school year. So yeah, it's going to be a little fun. That's why I want to try to get as much done this weekend as I can. So there is our first card with the Masterfully Made, is the name of the suite. The paper is called Gorgeously Made. And I mean, the stamp set is called Gorgeously Made. And yeah, so there is our first card. I'll set that off to the side. Oh, thank you, Mary. A couple of you are saying that you think it's a pretty card. Yeah, it's simple, Sandy, but it's beautiful because the paper does all of that work for me. So I didn't have to do a lot of stamping. Let me get these out of here, get this out of here. I'm going to kind of put it away so that I don't have a mess here. Put the cover on my take your pick tool. Okay, I'm going to take this bucket. We're going to set that aside. Oh, Lila's in here with us. Oh, she's got a dimensional on her. Oh, gosh, Lila. Lila's my dog. She's a golden doodle. She's hilarious. All right, our next, I'm going to bring my catalog back out here. Our next suite of products that we're going to use is from the Inked Botanicals. So I just loved how, like, just almost like a pencil sketch this kind of is. And this is where that ribbon comes from. And then this is a 6x6. So there are 12 different designs and they are two-sided. So I have the front of it. These are some of the papers. And then these are the colors that go with it. And then here are the rest of them on the other side. Oh, just gorgeous paper. So many, like the Lost Lagoon and the Pool Party. I wouldn't have thought of putting those together. And then there's Petal Pink and Calypso Coral, which is what we're going to do our card with. And then there's Crushed Curry thrown in there as well. So just a gorgeous set of products. Now, this does not have dies that cut any of those floral images out. But instead, the bundle with the stamp set. Oh, I can't get these back in here. I'm going to just set this aside. And I'll throw it back into my protective sleeve later. But this actually has a dual set of punches called Inked and Tiled. Okay, so there's one that looks kind of like an X, and then there's this one, and they can be layered on top of each other. You can see how they've kind of used that. I used this card right here, and I can pull that up, as my inspiration for what I'm going to do with this card today. What I'm going to do, I kind of kept looking at that for my greeting, and I used that paper because of that. So, and we're going to use Mary's wonderful card that she sent to me. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating this card that she sent to me. So this is what the front looks like. It's a gatefold, but the gatefold stands up like this so that you can display it. Okay, so this is the card that we're going to be making, but I'm going to be putting my take on it, sort of, with this new product. So, Mary, this might not be how you made it. I just kind of looked at yours and tried to figure out what in the world how I was going to do that. So, okay, so what I have is Petal Pink is what I'm using. This is going to be for my envelope. And this is 4 1/4 by 11, and it's scored at 2 3/4, at 5 1/2, and at 8 1/4. So it's 2 3/4 from either end, so it creates that gatefold. But then at the halfway point, it's scored again, so that you can make it kind of like a little W is what it has to look like. Can you see that W there? Okay, so that's what that has to look like. So this is going to be the front of our card, and then it's going to pop open like that. All right, I got to save these because I don't have these all typed yet. Okay, so for each of these panels, you're going to be putting Designer Series paper on there. You could also use regular paper and you could emboss it if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to use, sorry, my fingers. I have cuts all over my fingers because we've been doing some 3D printing at school. And when I take this little putty knife to try to get the image off at the end and try not to break what the kids have made, sometimes it lets go, and I took off a whole bunch of my skin the other day. Yeah. So you're going to, in total, need 6 panels that measure 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, I chose to do 2 of them. Oh, I'm missing one. I am missing one. I'm going to have to cut one. I chose to do 2 of them with one pattern and then 2 of them with another pattern. And I don't know why that one's not there, but I'll go get a piece of that and I will cut it. And then I'm going to, if we look at her card that she sent me, I loved how she did this. She put a greeting, a white piece on one in the center back, and then a piece of just regular paper with a stamp on it. We're going to do that same thing. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put a white panel, and I'm going to put a Calypso coral pattern. Okay? Then there's this little piece right here that makes it look like it's a belly band. That is, we're going to do in pretty petal pink as well. That's 3/4 of an inch by 7 1/2. And this is where, Mary, I don't know if I did these the same as you. I just kind of measured without taking your card apart. I did it at 1 inch, 3 inches, 4 1/2 inches, and 6 1/2. So it's 1 inch from either of the ends. And then each of these sections are 2 inches, and that gives me a little piece in the middle to attach that greeting on. Okay, then this piece is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2, and then the paper that I wanted to highlight in the middle, so she's got this designer paper in here that she put this over the top, is this one. So that's 2 5/8 by 3 3/8. It's just 1/8 of an inch smaller, and that will just get layered on there. Isn't that paper awesome? Okay, I have a little strip that's 3/4 of an inch long, or wide, I'm sorry, by 3. That's going to be the little strip behind our greeting. And then I have some white here for us to stamp our greeting on and use the punch. I'm going to quickly grab a piece of that paper. I don't know if I put it away or what I did with it. But here it is. And I said that I needed what size? Goodness gracious. These go with that. These go with that. These go with that. Here we go. 6 panels, 2 5 inches by 4 1/8. Let's see if this is 4 1/8. So there's 4 1/8. You get to watch me do 2 of them, or 1 of them, I mean. 2 5/8. So that's going to be 2 1/2 plus 1/8 of an inch more. All right, so there's that last one. Good thing I had my trimmer handy. All right, let's go ahead before we put all of it together. Let's do our stamping. Let's see, I don't need this. That's what I cut off of there. I got to make sure I have everything that I need here. Okay, I do. I have everything that I need. Let's do our stamping on here. We'll do our stamping on here. I'm going to be using some petal pink and some Calypso coral. And we're going to, I had some scrap paper that I had here before. Where did I move it to? Couldn't have moved it too far, right? Where did I set it? I'm just gonna grab another one. How can I get lost? Oh, I see it. It's with my last, I put it in the, here it is. I put it in the last bucket, but I've got another one. All right. We are going to, on the layer on the back, we are going to put lots of love, because this is going to be a birthday card. On the front, it's going to say happy birthday. And on the back, we're just going to send lots of love for their birthday. These are all stamps in that stamp set. So I'm just going to get this straight. I'm going to stamp our lots of love. And we're going to take some petal pink and kind of put one of those up here and maybe one over here. Okay, and I can probably actually put 3 of them. Let's put one down here. All right, that just kind of decorates that up a little bit. And then on this piece, I'm going to take tone on tone. So I'm going to take the Calypso Coral and ink up that big image and just have that there on the other side. Okay, on this scrap, I'm going to do my happy birthday. And then we're going to take this and punch that out. And I am going to put it a little bit lower. We are going to put a little ribbon over the top. So see how I'm making sure that the birthday's in there, but it's probably a little bit lower than right in the center because I know I want to add that little ribbon. I didn't know that when I did it, but I punched it a little bit lower and oh, that ribbon fit perfect there. So that's what I did. Okay, we are ready to assemble. I'll throw all of this back in my bucket. We are ready to assemble this card. Okay, so let's get our pieces out. So this actually is going to go this way. Okay, so I have to look at it again. Yes. Okay, so this is going to actually go this way. And so it's going to fold together like this, and then it's going to go like that. So we're going to add our designer paper first. And actually, I'm going to do the inside designer paper first. Back that up a little bit because I want to cover these with some of the other designer paper. But it's easier to get this paper on, I found out, if you do this first. So this is just some, it's Calypso Coral and it's got some petal pink and white little leaves in it. I thought that worked pretty good with this over the top of it. Okay, now, Mary, I don't know if you had any tricks. I was like playing with this yesterday. Oh, she cased it from Lisa Curcio. I think you said that actually in your thing. I should have looked at Lisa's to see. Okay, this is just going to, this is going to wrap around here. Okay, and this is going to wrap around here. Okay, now I do want to make sure that it still lays flat. So before I start to burnish these, I want to make sure that it's laying flat. So these are actually going to be glued here, and then these two pieces are actually going to come out so they pop out this way. Okay, so that my greeting, or my little greeting, and that front panel is going to pop out that way. So I'm going to set it down. I'm going to wrap those two end pieces around, make sure that they lay flat. Then I'm going to flip it over. I want this to be kind of in the center. So I'm going to slide it up maybe just a tad. Usually with the belly band, you have to make sure that it's not too tight because you got to take the belly band off. But this one, where this thing that looks like a belly band, we're actually gluing to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add some glue. Oops, I'm almost off the camera. Let me get this straight again. Now that I moved it. Okay. Press that down. I'll flip it over and get more into the camera. I'm going to slide that there and put that down. Okay. Once those are down, then I can put that other designer paper over the top of it because then it's going to cover that little tab that's there. Now I made mine 1 inch. You could probably make it 1/2 inch, and that way you would only need like 1 inch less because you could take off 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch there. That's entirely up to you. I guessed. And so I made mine an inch just to make sure that I had enough. That is just how she did it. Oh, good to know. I love when I get swap cards too, and I'm like, okay, I can figure this out. Okay, so that's how it's going to stand up with that in the middle. And then back here, we're going to put a place for us to write our greeting or to sign our card, depending on how much greeting you want to write. Now, if you had a lot of things that you wanted to write, you could make 2 white panels if you wanted to. I opted. You could also put some designer paper back here if you wanted to. I just kind of copied what she did. And it sounds like she maybe copied a little bit of the design from Lisa Curcio. I love watching Lisa Curcio. She's got wonderful fun folds too. Okay. All right, now I am going to layer this on here. So it's just 1/16 of an inch all the way around because the paper's only 1/8 of an inch bigger. And then I found if I closed it and I kind of looked where the center was, I want it to be centered. So this is what they're going to get when they get there. So you want it to be centered. So I'm going to put the glue just between those 2 score lines that I had. And I don't want to get too far out to the edge because remember, liquid glue expands and spreads. I don't need it to go on to the rest of the card. So I'm going to figure out where I want this centered, and then I'm going to press down on it. Okay, so there is my little floating panel that's out. I go this way, so it opens up like that. Isn't that cool? I love this, Mary. Okay, then our happy birthday is going to go here, but I said I wanted to kind of mimic a little bit that front piece. So they had a little piece of the polka dot on the either end. And what you need to do is you need to slide this. So I slid it in, but then you need to take this end. I want it longer than this. See what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead. You could do one of 2 things. I guess you could cut it like that, and then you could cut it in half and tape it on either end. I went ahead and stuck it in here, and maybe now that I'm talking this through, that would have been easier. I pulled this end out, and I punched this end. So I'm just kind of trying to get that arrow in the center. Okay, so I punched that end off, and then I did the same thing over at the other end. So I stuck it in here. So I'm doing this, I'm sticking my paper in. There we go. But then I don't want this side to punch, so I've got to pull that out of it and then center it. And punch. Okay, so that's just going to go down like that, and then this will go over the top of that just to add a little bit of something back there. All right, I went ahead and I put this down with liquid glue. And I'm just kind of centering it on this little belly band that I have here. And then I'm going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals. Actually, I have some bigger ones here that I can use. And I'm going to pop that greeting up. With Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to kind of line those arrows up and then center it between. Okay. Then what I did was, remember I said I wanted to put a little ribbon up there? We do have a new, it's in a ribbon combo pack. This comes with Petal Pink is this one, and it kind of has little lines on it almost. And then there's a think it's Lemon Lime Twist is the other color that's with it. I love both of them because they're really, really skinny ribbons. So you can add kind of a tinier bow. Let's see here. You can add a tinier bow to your projects, and it doesn't add a lot of extra bulk. So again, I'm just going to pull on the tails a little bit, and then I'm going to pull it tight until I get the loops about the size that I want them, and then I go ahead and trim. I made 2 bows today. I don't have to put a bow on the last one. Good deal. Making bows on live camera is never fun. So I was like, okay, how is this going to go today? Then I'm going to take a little glue dot again. Hopefully I make it look easy. It's really, I know making bows is not easy. And then I'm going to put that up here on the top. Okay, so there's our happy birthday. And then I felt like it just needed a few gems. And so we do have these are ombre matte decorative dots. And there's Calypso Coral. I think this is Misty Moonlight, Coastal Cabana, and maybe Old Olive or Granny Apple Green. I'm not quite sure. Does it tell me what colors are on here? It doesn't, I don't think, anywhere. It does in the catalog. You would have to look in the catalog, but I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of these on here. So I'm going to take one of these bigger ones and maybe put it in the center of that flower. And then I might take a little one and set it down here on my label. And then, let's see, I think I'll do another little one. And maybe we'll put that like right there. I don't really like that there. Whoops, I left that. We're going to leave it there. It looks like they're kind of trying to do in a line rather than doing them in a triangle. So, but it'll work. So there's our card. Now, if you wanted to, you could add a little Wink of Stella or anything like that. But what a cool way to send a card so that they can stand it up and display it. And then you still have a place to write your greeting to the person that you are giving it to. And we can add a little bit of this paper to our envelope. You could also, if you didn't want to use more of the designer paper, I always have a ton of designer paper left. In fact, I was embarrassed last week, Saturday, when I was sorting through all my stuff and getting things ready for my used stamp sale, that I had so much paper that I was going to be putting in the sale because I had a lot. I was trying to package it all up in little packages for people, and oh my goodness, I had a lot. Speaking of the used stamp sale, on June 10th, my friend Kathy Miller has a used stamp sale with a lot of different demonstrators at her house in Sherwood. I'll give you more information once I have it. I'll post it on my blog. But there are a bunch of demonstrators that sell a lot of their stuff that is retired. And I will be selling my stuff there. But then I also open it up to my customers at my house on the Thursday before. So that would be June 8th. And I'll send that information, like what time and things like that. And I do put my stuff out before I bring it over there. Just in case people can't make it on the weekend, it'll give you a chance to shop ahead of time with my stuff. So there is our second card. Thank you, Mary, for the inspiration for my card. I wanted to really get to playing on this inked and tiled set because I have to make 2 cards, and I have to make, I don't even know how many of them, but I think no more than 8. Depends on how many people sign up. But then I have to make 8 of each of them. So I'm thinking I might make this one as one of the cards for that swap. All right, so there is my second card. So this was my inspiration from Mary. All right, I'm going to get my take your pick tool out of the bucket, or I'm going to end up in the same spot I was in before, looking for something, and it's in the bucket. All right, and now I'm so excited for card 3. Not that I wasn't excited for the other 2 because I love that product too, but I was playing last night with this one, and I love how it came out. Lisa Nealon is actually my inspiration for this one. Last May, we went to my family's cottage. Well, it's kind of like a lake house in Wapaka, Wisconsin, for a couple of days, and we did some stamping, and we did a shoebox swap as part of it. And she made a card like this that was had butterflies on it, and I decided I wanted to do something with this. Look at this Earthen Elegance suite. Oh, I looked at this and I'm like, there's so many possibilities. There's so many like textures, and this looks like, I mean, there's just so much here. I loved how this looked, so I kind of used this little combination, but this is designer paper that is cut into making it look like a vase type thing. This has a bunch of texture on it when you stamp it. Oh, there was just so many possibilities. So we are going to make a little stand-up card with this. And yeah, so this is the paper. Again, I can pull it out of I put this in a protective thing so that I could put it in a binder and just have it available. So there is our Earthen Elegance. Yeah, I made these all the other night when my order came on Thursday. I stayed up really late because I wouldn't let myself make any cards until I had this stuff put together. So I put this all together, and then I made the last two cards that I made after that, so that I was kind of ready for had to play after I spent all that time doing work, right? I just realized I need my big Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, because I didn't do all of this because I wanted to show you how to do it. I was thinking I could do the little one, but I can't. Okay, we are going to be starting with, this is the copper clay. This is 4 1/4 by 9 1/2. Oh, and I didn't score this because I think I'm going to show you how to score it. We're going to score it at a 1/2 inch, 1 1/4, 2 and 2 3/4 on each end of the 9 1/2 inch side. All right, this is for our envelope at the end. Isn't that paper awesome? All right, this is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and this is going to be the base of our card. Then this designer series paper is 5 1/4 by 4. Isn't that cool? Oh, I just loved that and how that looked on the copper clay. I had to save all these dimensions too because I didn't type this one up. This is for our greeting on the back, and it's also 4 by 5 1/4. This, oh, I love this paper. This is 4 by 3 3/4, and we're going to cut out the larger die from here. So that's why I said I need to go ahead and get my big shot, because I wanted to show you what I meant by that. I have a window sheet piece that's about 3 7/8 by 3 1/2. It's a little bit smaller than that. It's going to actually go kind of behind where that is, so that's why it has to be smaller. And that's it. I have a bunch of scraps in here that we're going to be using. So we're going to be using some Pretty Peacock and some Moody Mauve and some pecan pie, pumpkin pie, copper clay, and Misty Moonlight. Oh, look at all of those colors together. Kind of reminds me of fall. I didn't want it to be a fall card, but oh my goodness. Okay, so those are all the things, and then I've got some dies that we're going to need with all of that. So the first thing that we're going to do is let's go ahead and score this so you can see what I meant when I said to score it that way. So I'll bring my scoring tool in here, my cutting Stampin' Trimmer. All right, so my 1/2 inch I always do to the right. And the reason I do it to the right is because then there's more space for this to set up so that it is actually straight. If I do it like this, I only have this little portion right here that I can make sure is straight, but this way I have most of the card that I'm pushing up against here to make sure that it's straight. Okay, I have my scoring tool, which is the light gray. So it's going to be at a 1/2. And then I'm going to switch it over here to 1 1/4. And then 2. And then 2 3/4. Okay, then I have to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to start with the half. And then 1 1/4. And then 2. And then 2 3/4. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing with this piece is we're going to be making like a little thing. Fold all these in. Okay, so this is going to make like a little thing like this. That's going to go on the front of here, and then it's going to be able to slide from side to side so that it can get inside of an envelope. But we're going to cut open an opening here that is going to have a window sheet that we can see through to this back thing. So that's where we're going with this project. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for right now. I'm going to work with these two pieces right here so that we can cut out that center. So I'm going to be using the deckled rectangles. And I have to see which ones I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to use, this one's going to be my larger one. And then this is going to be my smaller one. Okay, so it's the third and the fourth one if we're looking from the smallest. So this is going to be that one and then this one. So let me go ahead and get, I can probably use my little one for this. I don't need the big one. Don't think I can get this whole thing through here. See, then when I go to put this one through, I'm not going to be able to do that. All right, so, but for this one, I think I can get that through. Let's just bring the big one in. I've got it sitting here, so we might as well just bring it in. Change of plans. It's just so big for my little desk. All right, I haven't been watching. Liked and shared, beautiful cards. Yay, Lisa. Okay, good. All right, I'm caught up kind of on comments. I don't think there were any questions in there. Okay, good deal. Okay, we're going to, you do have to make sure, so this is 3 3/4 by 4. So you need to have the shorter, or the one that's not as wide, has to be that way. I just got plates not too long ago, but holy cow, I need new ones again. Doesn't look like I did a very good job of centering that. Okay, this should have been centered a little bit better, but it is what it is. Okay, I'm going to set this aside for a little bit. We have to do something else, and then I will bring it back. I just wanted you to see all of the steps so that you weren't like confused on how to do anything. Okay, this is going to get adhered to that, and then we're going to take our smaller one and we're going to cut our smaller one out so that we get like a little edge of the copper clay there. So I'm going to go ahead and use liquid glue for this. You could, for some of this, I'm going to be using some Stamp & Seal Plus just to make sure that it all stays in place. Now you don't want glue to be oozing out, so you do have to be careful because there is just a tiny little border along the top there. So if I fold this in, you can kind of see where what we're trying to center it on. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine back in here. Oh, I have to, that was my handle. I lost the little, no, I didn't lose it. I have it. I just have to get an Allen wrench. And I did bring my Allen wrenches home from school because I have Allen wrenches at school. I just have to put the little thing back in my handle. It's been like that for a couple of months, but that's okay. Let's see here. I'm going to put this one. It seems a little flatter. Okay, so this is going to go in there. And just to be safe, because we're on live TV, I'm going to grab, this is, I just get this from Amazon. It's some Post-it tape. And I'm just going to tape in a couple of areas so that when I put the top on, because my plates are a little bit warped, whoops. So you could do this with anything. You could do this with an oval. You could do this with a square. You could do it, I thought about doing it with those countryside corners that are new. But I came back for some reason to the deckled rectangles. When Lisa did it, I believe that we used the layering stitched rectangles, which those are no longer, they're retired. So I had to go to something different. So I did the deckled. All right, while we have our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine here, I want to bring in the other things that we need to cut because I did not cut those. I wanted to show you how easy it was to cut all this stuff. So I'm going to put a whole bunch of things on here, whatever I can fit. That works. You know what I might do? And I'm going to show you what I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut some of the pots and some of the greenery out of this. So I have to find my dies. Here they are. So the Misty Moonlight, I'm going to cut this little pot. We're going to run this through twice because we're also going to give it some dimension after. I'll show you another die that's in there. The Pecan Pie, we're going to do that one. The Moody Mauve, we're going to do that pot. And then this little sprig of stuff we're going to do with the pretty peacock. I'm kind of following what was in the in that card that I kind of liked, that I pointed out. Okay, so see how I can cut that all together? Just love that. Okay, so there's one of our pots. There's some green. Okay, we have another pot here. We're going to do something to that one. And then we have our other little piece. Kind of looks like a, not a feather, but kind of looks like it. All right, what I'm going to do to the blue pot is run it through with this die that's in there. This does not cut at all, it just embosses. I'm going to show you what that does. I thought this was so cool. Gives it some texture. So the word texture, I think it's called Earthen Textures, is what the stamp set is called in the dies. I'm just going to go ahead and set this across here and run it through again. I do want to make sure it's straight because I don't want my texture crooked. But look at how it just adds, can you see that texture on that pot? It was so cool. All right, so those are the dies that come with this set. And I'm going to put them back in here. And we're going to get rid of this machine because we're done with the machine now. Because the other one I did through the magic of TV for you. All right. Whoops, I got one more die here. Okay, we have everything cut. Now what I want to do is I want to do some stamping, and then when we do our stamping is finished, we'll be all set to put this whole card together. So this is going to be the back where I'm going to be writing on it. But then I also have a scrap of the copper clay. I probably could have used this piece that I just cut out as well. I didn't really need to have another scrap here. I was just trying to make sure I had everything that I needed to make the card. So I am going to bring in my white embossing powder. I'm going to be using the thank you and Versamark on here. And I'm just going to stamp this. I probably should have used my embossing buddy first. I know we're getting kind of late. Oh my goodness, yeah, we are. But I hope you're going to love this project when it's done. I just had so much fun creating this one. Okay, yep, see, I should have used my embossing buddy. I didn't do a very good job. But I did use my embossing buddy on the sample that I made, and through the magic of TV, I actually have this heat embossed for you. I'm going to set this aside. I have it heat embossed, and I also have run it through the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine and cut out the label, and it's in here. Ooh. And there that is. So thank you. All right, so we have that done. I can set this aside. I do want to put some stamping on here. So the greetings in this stamp set I thought are really cool. They're all about like thanking somebody for, you know, like this one says, you are proof there is good in the world. I just love that statement. So I'm going to stamp one of the pots on here. This is in Misty Moonlight. Okay, and then I did make a mask. I could not find my masking paper. In cleaning, I must have put it somewhere and I don't know where it is. I'm going to take pecan pie and these things that kind of look like feathers. And I'm just going to put those inside of the pot. See how I did that so that that stuff down below is not sticking out there? Now I could have added other stuff. I felt like that was enough for the back of the card because the front is going to have a lot of stuff. And then this is the copper clay. All right, so that's going to be where I can sign my name, write a little message if I want to write a message, but I like how it says you're proof that there's good in the world. I don't really have to write a whole lot of message because that kind of says a lot right there. Okay, I'm done stamping, so I can get rid of that as well. Bring this back in. Okay, now for putting this together, I'm going to start with this piece of 5 1/4 by 4. And my copper clay, that's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. I'm going to layer that on top of there. Oh, look at that pretty peacock on the back. This paper is definitely one that it's like, oh, I don't know that I want to cover that up. Okay, so we're going to see a lot of this. All right, for our window sheet, we want to put that, oh, I got some glue on that. Let me see if I can get that off. Window sheets are, you just want to make sure you got them clean. Okay, and I did get, I don't know how I got glue on there. Let me see if I can get it off with this. I have a baby wipe here. Let's see if the baby wipe will work. I'm down to the end of my window sheets. I ended up having to order more. They're coming next week. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now I'm just going to take, I used a baby wipe and I'm just going to dry it now in the sleeve of my shirt. Okay, we are going to attach that right there. And I am going to use some Stampin' Seal Plus for that to make sure that it is good and attached. Okay, now I do have extra Stampin' Seal that's on here, so I'm just going to take my eraser and get some of that up. I have more there than I needed. Okay, I think I didn't cut my window sheet as, it's going to be fine though. It's not going to stick to anything. It will be fine. I have a little bit of a mess here, but I wanted to make sure that it stuck really good, but I remember I cut my window sheet a little bit smaller because I'm like, oh, I don't need that much window sheet after I made mine. And maybe I did need that much window sheet so that the glue covered everything. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to, I'm going to bring in my silicone mat for this. I want to make those little thick corner things. So what you're going to do is you're going to put Stampin' Seal Plus, or you could use tear and tape, and that's going to go there. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to fold on the second score line, so there's the little score line with the tab. I'm going to fold on the second one, and then I'm going to fold it over again. That'll make that exactly where it needs to be. Okay, so again, I'm folding over. Here's the first score line. I'm going to fold it on the second score line and fold it over again. Okay, so there is how I make my little boxes. Now I have to bring this in. This is going to go on here, and it's going to be able to slide that way, and it's going to be able to slide that way so that you can close it and get it in an envelope. So what I need to do is I need to put my seal on these two slides. So I'm going to slide it over. I'm going to kind of keep my fingers so they're both going to be on the ones that's to the right as I'm looking at it. So this one and this one. Okay, now here's where you have to be careful. So I'm going to start by adhering this one. So when this little thing is folded in so that you can see that through the outside, you're going to line that up to the far left and press that down. Okay, now I'm going to press the other side in so that I can see this little thing through my window sheet, and I'm going to pull this all the way over to the edge and line that up there. Now this is so that I can put it into a card or into an envelope. It can slide either way. Okay, now what I want to do, so I wanted to have that in the background. Now I'm going to, let's go ahead and add this to the back so that we have our greeting. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take those pots and we're going to build our pots on top of here. So I've got that one, I've got that one, we've got some of this that's going to come out of one of them, and I've got my green that's going to come out of one of them. And what I wanted to do, what I saw on that in that picture is that they took some of this trim and they wrapped it around here to give it just a little bit more texture. And I thought that was really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and add some, I'm not sure how they did it, so I just kind of guessed. And I put a little bit of the Stampin' Seal there, the Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm just going to wrap that around there. And then I just kind of brought it this way. Whoops. I'm going to get a little more Stampin' Seal on either end. There we go. So I'm going to wrap that around there. And then I'm going to bring it down. And wrap it a second time. And wrap it a third time. And I did it 4 times. And then I just went ahead and with my scissors just cut the rest off. Okay, isn't that cool how that looks on there? Oh, thanks, Linda. Yeah, I love this. I loved this card. Like I said, my friend Lisa made it, and I kind of copied it. She had done it with that butterfly stamp set with some of the paper last year when it came out, and I just loved it. So I kind of copied it with this. So this is going to go here, and this I ended up just gluing that one down. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal Plus along the bottom here. Gonna make sure I have enough room for my blue pot. Okay, then I'm gonna put this up on some dimensionals, and my dimensionals are gonna mostly be on the left-hand side. And dimensionals, here we go. I know I have other ones out here somewhere. And I might take a little one for the bottom. Okay, so I've got 2 pots there. And then inside of this blue one, I'm going to stick that little sprig, and we're going to stick this little sprig to get some of those other colors coming out. Okay, so what I did was I took a glue dot. I played with this for quite a while last night. Let's just say it's the only card I had to make last night, and I think it took me about 2.5 hours to design it because I could not figure out what I wanted to do. Kind of had an idea during the day yesterday that I wanted to use this fold, but I had to try to... Oops, this might be too far. I maybe should have. I don't think I used as big of dimensionals when I did it last night. Okay, and then once that was down, I came back with my liquid glue, and in a couple of the bigger areas, I just shot a little dot of liquid glue. You could also roll up a little glue dot if you don't like liquid glue. Okay, and I'm just going to hold that there to hold it in place so it's not flapping all over the place. And then I'm going to tuck in this little green thing with some glue dots. Now this is a putsy card. So for a thank you, you have to really, good morning Karen Wetstein. You have to really be willing to commit here. Okay, so there's the green that I put in there. And then our thank you is going to come right over the top of here. So since this is on dimensionals, I want dimensionals on the right-hand side, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue that can attach to that pot on the right-hand side. So Stampin' Dimensionals, and then just a little pop of glue where that pot is. Last night when I did this, I'm like, I did the dimensionals like this, but I forgot to take the backing off. I'm like, why isn't that sticking nice? Because you got to take the little backing off. Okay. And there we go. So it'll go into your envelope either like that or like that. It doesn't matter. But it will stand up for you just like that. Let me get my silicone mat out of here. It will stand up so that you can display it, so the person will be able to see that. Now I've got a little bit of glue on my window sheet that I'm going to have to try to get off, but isn't that cool? So here's the one that I did last night as well. Okay, so I loved how this turned. I just think that these pots and stuff are so awesome looking, and I just had so much fun making this. And then I do have this right here. Now you could take this piece that we cut out, you could cut a pot out of that. You could do something with the blue. So I will not throw this away. I will be using that somehow. So it's not that you're wasting all of that. You can use it again. And we'll go ahead and add some glue to the flap of our envelope. So that we can have a matching envelope to our card. There was a mom who all week at school, she decorated for every single meal that they had for Teacher Appreciation Week. She had decorations. I mean, she just went overboard. She made tablecloth, like centerpieces, and all kinds of stuff. And I was thinking that because she's so artsy craftsy, I was thinking that I might send this thank you note to her. So it just slides off to the side so that you can fit it. You definitely will probably need some extra postage if you send this one in the mail, but it does fit right into the envelope. And then when you take it out, it does just pop up, and so you can stand and display it. All right, I don't know what the name of this fold is called. So let me clean up here a little bit. I'll bring all of the cards that we made in. So all three of them were fun folds today. All three of them used brand new product that I just got on Thursday, because none of this was stuff that I could order earlier. So we've got our earthen textures. We have our inked and tiled, okay, which also stands up like that. And we've got the matching envelope for that. And we have our masterfully made, which opens up just in the center like that and has a matching envelope as well. Oh, so much fun stuff to play with when we get a new catalog. I was busy. I was having fun though, and that's the main thing. So let me go ahead and I will come back to you, because holy cow, that was a long live. Hello, I'm back. All right, I hope that you enjoyed those cards. Oh, thank you, Marcia. Yeah, I had fun. Thanks, Dee. Yeah, thank you, Mary. This was one of my favorite suites in the products. I love earthy colors. I loved the pots. I saw a lot of potential with all of those pots and stuff. And so that was definitely one of them that was on my list that I felt like I wanted to get. So I got that one, and then I was kind of forced to get the Masterfully Made. It probably isn't one that I would have gotten right away, but now I have it and I can play with it. And the inked and tiled was definitely on my list. I love it. It's very much up my alley, that one is. So anyhow, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope it inspired you to get creative this weekend. Next weekend, I have a card buffet. So that starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I will not be going live in the morning. I might come live in the afternoon. We are talking about going up to our cottage for Mother's Day weekend, because my sister's going to be around, and I haven't seen her since, oh gosh, I think I saw her once since Christmas. So yeah, I really want to be able to see them. And so I may be skipping next week for family. Family's important. So I will let you know for sure during the week once we know what our plans are. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you soon.